Greetings all and welcome back for another paranormal pit stop. Tonight we'll be exploring a 4,000-acre nature retreat and cattle ranch placed off Kamehameha Highway out of Kaneohe on the windward side of Oahu in Hawaii. Comprised of 3 separate valleys, being the Ka'aawa, the Kualoa, and the Hakapu'u, offering a range of options in hiking, ATV usage, zip lines, and shore space, and acting as stage to a number of major Hollywood productions, including the Jurassic Park saga, Mighty Joe Young, 51st Dates, Hawaii 5-0, The Descendants, and more, and purported to harbor a wealth of supernatural infestations while accommodating centuries-old legends. Are you prepared to brave the history and hauntings of the Kualoa Ranch? Historically, dating back to the 13th century, land holding and surrounding the Kualoa Ranch was considered to be sacred by ancient Hawaiian inhabitants, with its bounds accessible by royalty alone. The site was home to the sacred drums of Kapaha'ula and Ka'ahu'ula Puna Awai, to the sacred hill of Ka'ua Kahi Aka Ho'owaha, the key to the sovereignty of the kingdom of Oahu. And following his visit to Kauai and preceding his return to Tahiti, it's even told that Chief La'amai Kahiki settled near. The Kumulipo is an ancient Hawaiian genealogical chant, and in it, it's told Kualoa is where Papa and Wakia buried their first stillborn child, Haloa, and from his grave, it's claimed the first taro plant grew. It's also told Kualoa served as a domicile for kings, including those of the great Kamehameha lineage. In 1850, American doctor Garrett P. Judd would purchase 622 acres of local land and would become the first person to properly translate medical journals and sciences into the Hawaiian dialect, for which King Kamehameha was highly grateful. In 1860, Dr. Garrett P. Judd would purchase an additional 2,200 acres, and in 1863, his son Charles and his brother-in-law Samuel Gardner Wilder would establish a sugarcane plantation complete with a mill right on ranch lands. While it was initially speculated that business would flourish, subsequent years yielding abnormally low rainfall levels would all but destroy local sugar farming ops, and the mill was closed in 1870, its ruins still visible today from the highway. In 1880, Charles Judd would purchase another 1,188 acres to add to his family's estate, bringing their total land ownership up to the roughly 4,000 acres it boasts today. In 1941, amidst World War II, Kualoa Ranch was occupied briefly by the U.S. military and was re-established as Kualoa Airfield. However, following the war, it was returned to the Morgan family, who were descendants of our original Dr. Garrett. In 1974, the site was added to the National Register of Historic Places, and from 1993 to 1998, it would host Hawaii's first major rock festival, the Big Melee. Today, Kualoa is owned and operated by John Morgan and family, who are, in fact, 8th-generation descendants of the good Dr. Judd. In addition to its role as a working cattle ranch, the venue also offers tours, luau's, and space for weddings, private events, and more. Through its lengthy existence, Kualoa has been surrounded in a number of scary stories and tales of the supernatural, with those frequenting its bounds reporting extreme cold spots, the constant feelings of being followed or watched, and chilling instances in which visitors have been grabbed, pushed, or even hit by a presence unseen. Some tell the entirety of the expanse is stalked by night marchers, entities from Hawaiian lore that are essentially ghostly embodiments of ancient warriors and chiefs long since deceased, who always announce their presence with the sounds of drums, chanting, and marching, the glow of torches, and the odor of rotting or burning flesh. Legends further to tell that if one stares directly at a night marcher, it will most certainly kill them where they stand, and that the best practice, should you ever encounter one of these ghastly manifestations, is to lie face down on the ground and avoid looking up until the ominous troop's clatter is out of earshot. Also reported across Kualoa Ranch are constant electronic malfunctions, orbs in strange forms captured in the backgrounds of photography, and encounters with strange mists, shadowy figures, and full-bodied apparitions that often appear out of nowhere, only to quickly vanish from sight. Another popular legend, and actual disturbingly true chunk of history, tells how, in 1866, at the aforementioned sugar mill, 9-year-old Willie Wilder, son to Samuel Wilder, fell into a vat of boiling syrup during processing. It's told that he lived a handful of days in excruciating agony before succumbing to his injuries and passing. Those who've braved the mill's ruins have reported disembodied voices, screaming, and the sounds of phantom machinery heard floating through the long dormant structure. Also from Hawaiian lore, the Menehune is a mythological dwarf sort of creature, rumored to reside in the deepest forests and hidden valleys of the Hawaiian Islands. These beings are purported to hold unparalleled skills in crafting, have been credited in the building of temples, fish ponds, roads, canoes, and houses, some of which actually still exist, and are supposedly invisible to all but their children and certain humans who shared special connections. Within Kualoa lies the 125-acre Moli Pond, which is claimed to be the work of the Menehune, and is one of only 4 original Hawaiian fish ponds remaining across the whole of Oahu. On a closing note, for those considering a visit to Kualoa, or anywhere on the islands, heed this warning. In accordance with Hawaiian tradition, the taking of so much as a grain of sand by an off-islander could incur the wrath of Pele, and could place them right in the sights of the very old, very vengeful, and very deadly goddess herself. Thanks for joining us on this paranormal pit stop. Don't forget to like, share, and subscribe. Good night.